What's going on, everyone? Good to see you. Welcome to Conversations. My name is Conman167, but you can call me Con. We're just like one little family right here. And I gotta be real with you right out of the gate, okay? This is a pro wrestling podcast, and there's a term in pro wrestling when somebody is exhausted. Somebody cannot get through a speech without needing to take big, deep breaths. That's called being blown up. And oh my God, for some damn reason, am blown the F up. I think it's because of what I've ate this week. I really haven't been eating well. Part of me has been super duper busy with my channel trying to get the two different YouTube channels move, and Conman Reacts and Conman167. I got my Patreon stuff that's going on. I've got so many shorts that are being uploaded right now. There's a lot of things on the go at the moment, and one thing that I've pushed off is eating well, or at least eating healthy. And DoorDash has been my friend lately. This is not a sponsored part of the podcast. It's been my friend because the way that the food is able to show up on my doorstep while I'm out doing other things is amazing. Like if I'm looking after the dog, or if I'm prepping for a video, or if I'm getting myself ready, or if I'm cleaning the house, or whatever it is I got to do in order to begin my day, and I need to eat on top of that, sometimes I forget to eat. It's just a truth. It's a thing that happens for the Con. And I decided, all right, this week we're going to make use of DoorDash. Now, I don't love doing it. The people watching here right now are probably like, Con, we've seen you order DoorDash so much on stream. I hate doing it. It's so damn expensive. But one of my issues is that I wanted something quick, and McDonald's is not that far away from the house. And so this week I've ordered McDonald's not once, not twice, but 3 times. It's Thursday. And I was gone for the weekend. I've ordered it 3 damn times already. And part of the reason that I ordered it is because they've got this stupid Monopoly game. I'm not sure if people in America get the Monopoly or whatever, but here in Canada, this is the time where McDonald's Monopoly is a thing. And me saying that out loud, I'm sure it's in the States as well. I'm sure it's pretty much all over the place. This is their big game that they bring in once a year. And I think it's rigged. All right, I am convinced at this point it's rigged because I've played for like the last 4 years, okay? Like if I go out and get food during the month of November, I guess it's not even November, it's October, but like October to November, I usually go to McDonald's because I want to play Monopoly. I might as well get the chance to win something. But I tell you what, we've been adding to this scoreboard now every time we've gone out, and we did this last year and we did this the year before that. And I swear, I always get I get 2, never 3. It's always just 2 of the 3 options. Or if there's 2 options there, I only get 1. And I'll get repeats of the same one over and over again. Like so far, I have 2 out of the 3 of the pink ones. And I've got 2 out of the 3 of the yellow ones. And I've got 1 out of the 2 of the blue, 1 out of the 2 of the brown. Like and the worst part of it all is, I keep peeling back the labels, hoping that I'll get something new, and it's Bay of Fundy again. Like, what the hell? I've got already Bay of Fundy. I don't need another Bay of Fundy, okay? I don't need another Miles Canyon. So, I swear, every year, I load this board up, but I never win anything. And so I gotta ask everybody in the comments section, have you won anything other than like a burger or fries or like, I don't know, maybe a McDonald's gift card from McDonald's Monopoly? I've never won anything. Like some of these prizes, like where is my custom sports chair game day bundle? All right, you say there is 10 available of $10,000 cash. Where's my 10 grand? Okay, I don't understand. I can't even get a $50 gift card to Michaels. There's $3,000 available. Give me my $3,000. Well, okay, actually $50, 3,000 card. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. I want to win something. I spend far too much money at McDonald's to not win something. So what the hell? Is it rigged? I think it's rigged. I'm going to start out by saying McDonald's Monopoly is rigged. It is a game that you're not supposed to win, okay? I think like just a few people actually end up winning. I'm pretty sure my mom has won something before though, and she barely ever plays, and I'm pretty sure like she literally won something decent. But that's the only person I have ever known to win something from McDonald's Monopoly. Oh, but I'm blown up. I'm out of breath. I'm tired. I gotta be real. Like I think it's because I've ate like crap this week. It's really, really bad. Like the double cheeseburgers and large fries and large root beer can only give you so much energy, and I don't think it's giving me the good energy. So maybe tomorrow I should probably eat something with some greens in it, or just something a little healthier. That's just my thought process. But yeah, here on Conversations, guys, this is a pro wrestling podcast. Now, I want to talk about something here that is very near and dear to my heart. Somebody who is on Twitter who is known for blocking people. And I don't really know how to get into this, but damn it, Shawn Michaels. Why do you block people? Why did you block me? Jonathan, what's going on over here? Okay, so a little bit of a backstory right here. I found out like a few years ago that Shawn Michaels blocked me on Twitter. And this is not a badge of honor, all right? He is like my favorite pro wrestler of all time. I've never said anything bad about Shawn Michaels, but somehow I got blocked. And I was like looking through my tweets trying to figure out what the hell could I have possibly done to get blocked by Shawn Michaels. I don't really know. The only thing that I can think about that is maybe the reason for why I got blocked by Shawn Michaels is because if you remember when NXT switched over from NXT Black and Gold to NXT 2.0, there was some major changes, okay? And I was one of the people who hated them. That's not even like me sugarcoating it. I despised the change from NXT Black and Gold to NXT 2.0. I hated it. NXT Black and Gold was like my favorite wrestling promotion, and anybody who watched the streams back then will admit that I had an NXT bias. I thought everybody on NXT Black and Gold was like the biggest deal ever, and that they were the next major superstars for WWE, and all they had to do was book them right on the main roster, and it was Vince's fault that they didn't get booked right and that they would get released. Like, I was all in on Team NXT. And then they decided to switch it to 2.0, and I was willing to give it a chance right out of the gate. I'm like, okay, this could be fair. This could be fun. We'll see some new wrestlers come along. But it was a decimation of NXT Black and Gold. From Kyle O'Reilly to Johnny Gargano, my heart was breaking for these teams, or for these wrestlers that made the NXT Black and Gold team so special. It was my favorite promotion, period. And then when Shawn Michaels came in with NXT 2.0, I just couldn't get on board. There was just so much change to it. We went from this black and gold dark arena to this bright, colorful rainbow arena. And it just, even that, the vibe changed immediately. We were seeing all these new wrestlers come in, like Braun Breaker, like a Tony D'Angelo, like a Grayson Waller coming on into WWE. And don't get me wrong, all amazing talents. But it really hurt, to see people like Kyle O'Reilly go into a feud with Von Wagner. And when Kyle O'Reilly was like literally right about to break through the ceiling, right about to break through that glass ceiling that is there, he was about to reach for that brass ring, take over NXT, be their lead man. And then it just kind of got reshuffled. Tommaso Ciampa is another great example of what happened towards the end. Ciampa was just kind of there. And we're talking about Tommaso Ciampa, a guy who completely took NXT by storm. He was one of the best and greatest performers NXT Black and Gold had ever seen. And then Shawn Michaels and his NXT 2.0 came around, and I was out. So I probably tweeted out something along the lines of NXT 2.0 sucks, or maybe not to that extent, but like something like that. It was just not for me. So that's really all I can think about, okay? That's all I can think about why Shawn Michaels might have blocked me on Twitter. But now, guys, the day has come. It is a huge day because it looks like Twitter is no longer going to enforce the block option. And what I mean by that is that Twitter, or X as it's called, is going to let people look at profiles that they are blocked on. So, hey, I can finally see Shawn Michaels cook on the timeline again. Let's go! Chalk that up as a dub for the con man. Oh, yeah. I hope someday I get unblocked, but at least I can see what matches he's going to announce now. Because do you know how frustrating it has been throughout this entire run of NXT being praised? All right, NXT white and silver now being praised. Everything going on with it. NXT white and gold, or whatever the hell it was called before, that was praised. I couldn't ever see any tweets by Shawn Michaels. I just couldn't. I couldn't see any of his funny videos that he posted. I couldn't do nothing. All right. Every time it would pop up on my timeline, I'd click on the video and it's just, you are blocked by Shawn Michaels. I'm like, damn it. All right, so at least now I can see his tweets again. I'm very, very happy about that. Can't come soon enough, but Jonathan, please unblock me. You're my favorite wrestler of all time. Oh, no. Oh, it's never going to happen. I'm forever going to be blocked by Shawn. But somebody who has recently returned to WWE is making a little bit of waves behind the scenes with people not happy, and still people are really not happy what happened at Bad Blood. Now, I know Bad Blood is just a little bit ago, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did return at Bad Blood, and he took away that main event slot of Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's Hell in a Cell match. A lot of people upset about that still. A lot of people not getting over it. And it's causing a conversation around The Rock that I wasn't thinking I was going to lean into here during the podcast, but I kind of want to talk about it some more because people saying that we don't need The Rock back. Huh? What? Okay, all right, let's dive into that statement. People don't want The Rock to be back in WWE. Why? Is it because it's Dwayne just coming back and taking a main event spot away from somebody? Okay. All right. Somebody who deserves it, like a CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, certainly deserved it. But if we're really looking into it, The Rock helped produce the best business WWE has seen in so long. The hype going into WrestleMania 40 was unlike anything I have ever experienced as a pro wrestling fan. From night 1 to night 2 of WrestleMania, both nights were ecstatic. They were amazing. They were electric, should I say. And that was because of The Rock's involvement with the story. He helped elevate that story in a whole other way that people have no idea about. I know that we got a little look behind the scenes with that documentary, but let's be real, it was a bit of a fluff piece, okay? It was really just fluffing up The Rock and making it seem like he was the one making all these decisions. I'm sure it didn't go that smooth behind the scenes, but he still did what he needed to do in order to elevate the story with Cody Rhodes going into Mania 40. He's going to do that going into Mania 41. At least I think he is, because there's obviously lots of talk right now about The Rock maybe not being at WrestleMania 41, but it sounds like that was just a little bit of online rumor and innuendo. The Rock seemingly cleared that up on Instagram, saying that, yeah, no, I'm actually going to be there at WrestleMania 41. So, big match for The Rock, WrestleMania 41. He should be back in WWE, and if there is ever a time to bring The Rock back to WWE, well, that's not English. You better well bring him back. All right. You better well bring The Rock back to WWE any chance you get. This is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, one of the most famous people in the world. And if you get him on your program, even if it is just for a run of 3 months, you take it. You do it because he helps elevate everybody around him. I think Cody Rhodes became a megastar in the eyes of the WWE fans, a made man, not just because of his story going up against Roman Reigns, but the story of him versus the final boss. And we haven't even completely told that story yet. There's so much to go. There's so much to develop with that story of Rock versus Cody Rhodes. We're just scratching the surface. If The Rock is able to be open to wrestling for a few matches, if we can get him for another one at WrestleMania 41, maybe then follow it up at SummerSlam after that. It's a 2-night SummerSlam. You need a big-time main event for that. Cody versus The Rock at SummerSlam could be amazing, even if there's no title on the line, although I kind of hope there is going to be. But The Rock coming back elevates everybody involved with his story. Immediately, you're going to see The Rock be involved with Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, then by association Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu, along with Solo Sikoa. Everybody involved in that story definitely deserves to be elevated up the card. And in fact, if you can really get into it, the story might be partly elevating Jacob Fatu. Maybe Solo Sikoa doesn't get the job done. So let's just kind of roll this back here for a second. Let's say The Rock is running this side of the bloodline with Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. Well, lately, Solo Sikoa hasn't been able to get the job done. what if The Rock ends up at some point looking at Jacob Fatu as the next tribal chief in that bloodline right there? If he's the next guy to take over the mantle for Solo Sikoa, what if The Rock's bloodline has Jacob Fatu as their next guy, and then it's Solo Sikoa being exiled from the bloodline, and Solo Sikoa has to find his own way? Maybe that's where he gets back to being the street champ or something like that. I think that there's a lot of room here to elevate the wrestlers that are just associated with The Rock. And so the short answer here is, does The Rock belong back in WWE? Of course he does. He's the final boss. He is the man. He is the final character anybody has to beat in order to become the guy. And whether that is Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes or Jacob Fatu or even Solo Sikoa at some point, The Rock absolutely deserves to be here in WWE. And there is no question in my mind that when he comes back, he is the main event. He might not put on the best match of the night, but his story leading into any show is going to be the best of the bunch. So yes, he absolutely belongs back in WWE. And I don't think anybody should tell you otherwise. You know, Rock is Rock. Rock is the man. Rock is the guy. He is the final boss, as Santi Zap likes to say. All right. So, kind of a funny little thing right here, just a little detour. I always like to show you these funny videos, and one of these things that I found right here is hilarious because this dad gets a beer fridge. So his son, backstory right here, his son has been putting in all these like man cave stuff in his house. His dad and his mom have very different reactions on it. His dad loves it, of course. His mom, not so much. And the previous one was them putting up a Jumbotron above their dining room table. And now they have a beer fridge in their kitchen. But just listen to this reaction. It's so funny.
Putting a beer fridge in my parents' house.
When I saw this fridge, I knew it was the perfect thing to turn my alcoholic parents' house into a home.
By the way, alcoholic parents' house. That's so freaking funny.
What the fuck, dude? Oh! When I first seen it back there, I was like, dude, did this asshole just really put a freaking red box in my house? I thought I was gonna get movies. This thing is sweet.
Look at it.
This and the Jumbotron. We need a man cave. You need to build a
That's the most dude response ever. We need a man cave.
man cave. Your mom won't be allowed. It'll be like in 6th grade or some shit. You put do not disturb, only boys allowed.
Oh, whoop, I just clicked on the wrong thing. I really just got to the spot right there. But watch this dad. He has done this before. So I love it that this dad embraces not only John Cena, not only Ric Flair, but also Stone Cold Steve Austin all at the same time. You can tell he knows a little bit about wrestling from like his childhood or something like that. But the fact that he thought a Stone Cold Steve Austin beer bath was a John Cena is so funny. But anyways, here, just take a look at this.
I feel like John Cena up in here. Woo! This happened.
I feel like John Cena in here. Woo! With a Stone Cold beer bath.
How cool is this motherfucker? That's what I'm talking about.
Now watch the mom's reaction because like this is just too funny.
Oh, come on. Corbin, why is this in my house? And why does the house smell like beer?
I feel like John Cena.
Putting a beer...
Oh, it's too good, man. It's too good. I don't know. I think that's really funny just seeing like little things like that where people incorporate wrestling references and have no idea what they're talking about. Shout out to the dad right there. Okay, so another conversation that we have been hearing lately is a man known as Brock Lesnar. All right, there was a couple references on Monday Night Raw about Brock Lesnar and if he was going to come back to WWE. And basically, the reference was Seth Rollins referenced that he's a beast slayer, and Cody Rhodes referenced that he slayed the beast. This could be nothing. It absolutely could be, but it could also be something right here. Now, I'm not going to sit and talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff about Brock Lesnar, okay? Everybody knows the details, and at this point, there's really nothing more that can be said about it. I don't know too much more outside of what has been publicly released, and There has been nothing finalized on that. So I'm just here to talk about the pro wrestling side of things, and whatever happens in the future will obviously dictate people's opinions and thoughts about Brock Lesnar. But there's no doubt about it, it is a controversial and touchy subject. So I am really just going to try to focus on the what if he did come back to WWE, what that could look like from a story perspective, and who could he possibly be facing in WWE if he did come back. And for me, there is 5 names that jumped to mind, and these 5 names, oh man, they're big money matches. There's no other way to put it. Now, the first one, the most obvious one, and the one that could very well end up happening after Crown Jewel, is Gunther. Gunther versus Brock Lesnar has been teased for a little bit. There's been lots of rumors around it being planned in WWE. At one point, I'm pretty sure it was pegged to be a WrestleMania match. Was it not? I may be mistaken, but Gunther versus Brock Lesnar writes itself. It would be that opportunity to have Gunther go over Brock and become the new beast of WWE, which would just be amazing for Gunther. Honestly, Gunther has done an incredible job. He has. Nobody can tell you otherwise. He has morphed into one of the top heels in WWE, and getting that opportunity to have a spotlight match like against Brock Lesnar, where it's going to attract not only the attention of the WWE audience, but people outside of the sport, casual fans, if you will. MMA fans might come and check that out. Like, that is a legitimate big money match that if WWE does bring Brock Lesnar back, you got to consider that being the match that they're bringing him back for. But of course, there's a lot of other options, okay? Look at this. I'm still blown up. I'm literally out of breath right now. God damn it, McDonald's. All right, this damn double cheeseburger. The damn large fry. Okay? You got Khan out of breath. Okay, let's... What was that noise? What was that noise? Well, I don't even know. Okay, I'm not even sure. The next person that Brock Lesnar could end up facing if he came back to WWE is somebody from NXT that I think would be a perfect match for Brock. Now, we've seen Brock Lesnar and Omos face each other in the past, and that was a cool money match at WrestleMania. It was a good highlight for Brock Lesnar, but... I'm going to go ahead and say that there is a bigger match available, and there is somebody in NXT called Obafemi. Now, just picture for a moment the build of Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Hell, even picture this. Brock comes back, and he's here in the WWE ring, and he's speaking to the crowd and talking about how he's beaten pretty much everyone in WWE. This could go for Gunther, and this could go for a lot of these names that I do have on this list. But if he was just basically back talking, and you wanted to make a new star, you could have Obafemi step up. Can you imagine Brock in that ring cutting a return promo, and then the lights go out, and you just hear Obafemi's drums and the whoo going through the arena? Oh man, star made. That could be his debut. Now, Obafemi doesn't have to beat Brock Lesnar. You could have him beat Brock Lesnar, and if you did, oh my God, you are off to the races with Obafemi. But let's say that he just shows up and he has a big match against Brock, and in the end, Brock puts him over by raising his hand after he beats him. You could still make a star in Obafemi, and him versus Brock Lesnar. I don't care who you are. That is a match that you're going to want to see. You're going to want to see the result of that. It's just 2 big dudes that are going to fight it out, and it's going to be amazing. So that would be one other match I'd love to see from Brock Lesnar. But the third person that I think could very well have a great match with Brock Lesnar, it is somebody who the fans are really getting behind right now. This could help establish him as even more of a badass, though, and he would need to be a heel to go up against Brock Lesnar. But Braun Breaker going up against Brock Lesnar would be amazing. That's one of those matches that when you think about, you're like, oh, there's something we could do here. There's something big that we could do here. This could be a huge match, and it could even be a WrestleMania match. Like, legitimately, if they built up Braun Breaker and they had Braun go up against Brock, that is one of those marquee matchups that WWE loves to have on their big show. But how about number 4? Number 4 is somebody who's out injured right now. Somebody who I think Brock Lesnar and him could put on a magnificent story similar to Brock Lesnar versus Bryan Danielson, okay? And I'm not talking about, I guess it was Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan at the time, but I'm not talking about from an in-ring perspective, but just this idea of the underdog versus the Beast. And I believe one of the hardest hitting matches WWE has available to them, one of the matches that is going to get people talking about, is Ilya Dragunov versus Brock Lesnar. Now, this on the surface could be like, oh man, Brock is going to wipe the floor with Ilya, but Ilya's got that fighting spirit. Ilya can go with anybody in the ring, and he can bring the intensity as well. Can you imagine Brock Lesnar and Ilya Dragunov getting 20 minutes in that ring? It would be some of the most physical, it's scary, honestly, 20 minutes we've ever seen. Ilya Dragunov would take a beating, but when he finally fires up, oh my God, can you imagine him hitting that super H-bomb onto Brock, hitting the Torpedo Moscow, maybe even going for the Torpedo Moscow, and Brock catches him into an F5? Woo! Holy man, there is a lot of potential for Ilya versus Brock Lesnar. It would be one of those matches that I would pay big money to see. And it could even be on a free episode of Monday Night Raw. Like, if they built it up right, that could be a massive main event for Monday Night Raw at some point. I would love to see it on pay-per-view, but hey, not every match goes on pay-per-view these days. And the fifth person, the final person that I think could have a really fun match against Brock Lesnar, something that would get people talking, something that people would pay money to see. And I know that the people in the comments and everybody listening right now is going to disagree with right out of the gate, but hear me out. Logan Paul versus Brock Lesnar. I think this needs to happen if Brock does come back. Logan Paul has not really been involved with WWE as of late. He's been away since losing the United States title, and this could be one of those matches that he could come back for. Can you imagine if Logan Paul returned all cocky, all like, oh my God, I'm the best ever. I'm coming for the WWE championship. There isn't a soul out there that can stop me, blah, 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 blah. And then Brock Lesnar his music hits. Can you imagine if Brock's music hits right at that moment and Logan Paul is face to face with the Beast incarnate, with the farmer Brock Lesnar? Oh, the cowboy Brock would kick his ass, and it would be so much fun to watch. But at the same time, this could be built up similar to how Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns was built up, where Logan doesn't have a chance of winning this thing, but he could come close. There could be an opportunity. He could build it off of that one lucky punch once again. And maybe, just maybe, there is a story right there with Brock and Logan Paul. Certainly, if we really think about the big numbers of it, Logan Paul loves to have everybody who he works with or anybody who he likes on his podcast right after Brock Lesnar and Logan Paul do work together. You could easily have Brock Lesnar go on Logan Paul's podcast, and that would be a big money podcast for Logan Paul. He would think about that. He would totally see the business side of things. So yeah, Logan Paul and Brock Lesnar, it would be a viral moment watching Brock Lesnar F5 Logan Paul, whether it be through a table or whether it even be just in the ring. They could do something cool. I'm sure Logan Paul could jump off something high as well and crash into Brock Lesnar. Just some incredible feats of strength can come out of this as well. So those are the 5 people that I think Brock Lesnar could face if he were to come back to WWE. Let me know any other names that you have down in the comments below, because I think this is a really cool conversation topic. The what if, right? And again, this is not to talk about everything going on outside of the world of pro wrestling. This is just within the world, okay? I don't wish to talk about anything else right now because obviously it sucks. It really sucks that this business can be scummy like that. And now, another topic of conversation. This is one that I want to draw your attention to. I asked over on Twitter, people, if you could submit some Q&As for a Q&A section part of this podcast. And that's coming up in just a little bit right here. But before that, I got asked this question. Who should John Cena's last match be with? Now, as I'm blown up, let me take a big deep breath. There's lots of people. There's lots of people that he could potentially have a great last match with. And so I thought, if we're already in the top 5 discussion, if we're already talking about who could Brock Lesnar work with, well, then let's transition this right into who could John Cena work with. Now, there's 2 names that I did talk about with Brock Lesnar that are going to be a part of the John Cena conversation as well. The first one is Gunther. I mean, let's be real. If Gunther is World Heavyweight Champion come WrestleMania time, John Cena versus Gunther kind of writes itself. Cena in his last year, his retirement year, maybe he is the one who takes the title from Gunther and wins that championship again, or maybe he loses to Gunther and then the rest of the year is a question for Cena. Where does he go from here? How do I get back to winning that 17th world championship? You know, these are the questions John Cena would then start asking after a program with Gunther if he were to lose. So I do think that that is a money match right there. Gunther and John Cena could absolutely tell a great story, and in turn, it could elevate Gunther to superstardom in a way that he's never seen before. Beating John Cena clean at WrestleMania for the world title and holding on to it and defending your title against John, I think that's a way to make Gunther a megastar. And so anybody saying that Gunther and Cena shouldn't face at WrestleMania, it's definitely on the table. You know, there's other matches for sure for John if he does come back and has anybody he wants to work with. If he's not going to work for a title, well, there's other people like, let's say, Braun Breaker. This is another man that I mentioned with Brock Lesnar, but Braun Breaker and John Cena could absolutely tear the house down. And this again could be a way of John Cena putting over a younger talent like Braun Breaker. I do think, though, John Cena during his run right here, he's definitely going to have a lot of matches. And so I'm talking about some of these people right now that could face him along the way, right? I don't think Gunther is going to retire John Cena. It could very well be his Mania match, but I don't think he's going to retire John Cena. Just like I don't see Braun Breaker being the one retiring John Cena. I do like the idea of John having this adversity throughout the year in his final year of WWE Pro Wrestling. Like if he comes back and he loses his first couple of matches, then it's like, oh man, now here's his road to redemption. You know, how does he get back to being John Cena? Well, then maybe he needs to go through old rivals. Maybe somebody he could face along the way is Randy Orton. Now, Randy Orton obviously has a lot of history with John Cena. They are connected at the hip. But this idea that John Cena and Randy Orton have never faced one-on-one at WrestleMania leaves something to be desired, right? And maybe, just maybe, that is John Cena's match at WrestleMania as well, is John Cena versus Randy Orton. Let's say that Randy Orton doesn't turn heel. Let's say he doesn't go up against Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Let's say Cody's doing something else. Well, then Randy needs something to do at Mania, and him versus John is definitely a match that people will pay money for to see again. Yeah, we've seen it lots of times, but these are icons, right? These are people at the top of the business, some of the most famous names in pro wrestling history. If you put them in the ring together, people will pay big money for it. So even if that is not at WrestleMania, if that was a SummerSlam match, people would pay big money for it. But I still don't think that John Cena is going to retire against Randy Orton, as much as people want to say him versus Randy is the perfect retirement match for John. I think that he should be putting over the next generation of stars along the way, or maybe putting over a star that is looking to move up the card even further, to cement themselves as a main event level talent. And that is Kevin Owens. Now, Kevin Owens is somebody who John Cena has faced in the past. And if we're looking at who could retire John Cena, this is somebody who legitimately could. Now, Kevin Owens is turning heel, going up against Cody Rhodes. How big of a heel is Kevin Owens going to become? That's the question. And maybe he's the guy who becomes one of the biggest heels in WWE by retiring John Cena. When Kevin Owens came into the main roster, when he came up to Monday Night Raw, he was the NXT champion challenging John Cena for the United States Championship. And they went to war against each other. John Cena essentially elevated Kevin Owens to be a main event player all the way back then. And without that feud for John Cena and Kevin Owens, I don't know if Kevin Owens ends up being seen as one of the best, most valuable players in WWE. But the full circle moment of John Cena and Kevin Owens fighting and Kevin Owens retiring John Cena could be awesome. It could be poetic in some way, and it could allow Kevin Owens to become that prize fighter once again. If he has to go back through all the people that he's beaten along the way, like if he has to go back down memory lane and say, what made me the prize fighter? What made me the top of this business? Beating John Cena helped, so I got to beat John Cena again. The story is certainly there. But all those names, they're just not it for his final match. They're not it, right? they're not it. Those 4 names that I just said right there, I don't think anybody really wants that to be the final match of John Cena. When we look at somebody who deserves to have a final match against John Cena, when we look at somebody who could benefit from retiring him, who could go on and do bigger, better things that have not been to truly the mountaintop. And this is the one person that I'm thinking about. Sorry, Becca's just calling me right here. I gotta mute that. We'll call her back after the podcast. But the one person who could very well benefit from that is the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. Now, Drew McIntyre just lost Hell in a Cell. He just lost that big match against CM Punk. He's going to be gone for a little bit. When he comes back, there is only one way to move back into that world title picture: beating somebody of mega relevance. Now, there is lots of people that could be. We could see a little feud with Wade Barrett, but I don't think that necessarily elevates him to world title contention. But if they wanted to do Wade versus Drew, the seeds were certainly planted. Drew McIntyre could go up against Gunther again at some point, but again, we need something for Drew to get him back to that world title scene. And the person that would fit perfectly for Drew McIntyre is John Cena. Can you imagine if John Cena's retirement match, his final match of 2025, was against Drew McIntyre and Drew retires him? The heat for Drew would allow him to grow into the performer we all know he really truly is, to be the number one guy in WWE and not have people questioning, oh, well, is he the number one guy or is he number 2 or number 3? You know, like right now, it's like Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are 1A, 1B. But Drew McIntyre wouldn't be seen at that level. Him beating John Cena, him going back to the world title scene and beating whoever the world champ may be at that point, that's the way to get him back over to this main event level. And I do certainly believe he got over to that main event level again with his match against CM Punk inside Hell in a Cell. He's proven that he can work amongst the best in the world. But that versus John Cena, oh my God, talk about a money match. I really, really want to see it. But let me know, guys, who do you think Brock Lesnar should face when he returns to WWE, if he returns to WWE, and who should John Cena's final match be against? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And now, the last little thing right here is we always do a little Q&A at the end of this podcast, and I have a few questions that are pulled up right here. The first one being from Ghostface, and for those of you that don't know, if you don't listen to my streams or if you've not been a part of my streams that often, I've got a moderator named Ghostface over here, and Ghostface gets a bit of a tough rep, all right? He loves to be known as a person who, how shall we say, throws shit at a wall and sees what will stick. He loves to guess that this storyline's happening, that this storyline's happening, that this one. And occasionally he is right. And a lot of the times he is wrong. So he is asking me any tips on trying to get your opinions on wrestlers' storylines without sounding condescending or coming across as a D-bag. My easiest response to you is stop overthinking every little tiny detail that happens in WWE. As soon as something happens in a match, you're like, oh, that's gonna happen. And I don't mean to be rude, but like take 5 seconds before coming up with a big theory as to where this story is going. And I think that is my best way of putting that out there to you. Maybe make a mind map and circle your top ideas and share it with the stream. When you splurt out every story idea that you have, and then you come back into the streams 5 weeks later and say, I called it. It's a little infuriating. There's no other way to put it. It's like, yeah, you and 500 other people called it as well. Good for you. You know pro wrestling. How about let's talk about the 500 other ones that you got wrong? No, we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about the one you got right. Okay, gotcha. Understood. No, and honest to God, Don't overthink pro wrestling. Just have fun with it. Enjoy it. Make jokes and be kind to other people in the community. That is the overall sentiment that I have. Much love, Ghostface. Honestly, I love reading your theories. It is funny, and I enjoy ripping on you in the stream, but don't take it personally. At the end of the day, I'm just having fun with you. I don't do that with many people in the stream chat just because I feel like not everybody can take it, and sometimes I think that you can take it. If you can't DM me and let me know that you can't take it, because then I'll be like, yeah, you a little bitch. All right, we got Phil we met over here. He says, hey, Con, I've been creating wrestling content on TikTok for about 4 years, and I recently started a YouTube channel about 3.5 months ago. It's been a blast, and I love seeing the growth. I'm also interested in possibly starting to stream as well when the time's right. Any tips on how to begin that process as I continue to grow my brand? Whew, long-winded one. All right, not good when I'm blown up. But congratulations, man. I'm really happy to hear that you've been in the content space for a little bit now and grinding away. Look, there's no formula for success. If I had it, I would be bigger than I am. I think the biggest thing that you got to remember is you're just creating content, right? Have fun with it. There's never going to be one thing that you can do right that is going to lead you to more subs, more likes, more views, you name it. What is going to lead to that is a lot of hard work and a lot of determination, right? Making sure you're consistent, whether that be saying, hey, I post every Monday, and posting every single Monday and not missing a day. If you say I post every other day, well, then you post every other day and you don't miss a day. If you say I'm going to post weekly, that's great. It's a hell of a lot of work. But if you're going to post weekly, post every single week, every single day, every single whatever it may be. Like if you're going to post daily content, you got to do it, right? You just got to do it. And so there's really no way to tell you, hey, this is how you do it. You find the drive and you follow up on it. And the days that you don't want to record something, you still record something and you still just push forward and you do your best because that's all you can do, right? And maybe, like you've been saying that you've been doing it now for about 4 years. Evaluate what it is that you've been doing for 4 years. Is the content that you've been doing for the last 4 years leading to growth? Are people watching it? Or are more people clicking away? Like, is the type of content that you're doing not attractive to a large audience? And if that's the case, then pivot. Don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to change up stuff. Look, I started out as a gaming content creator. I started out as a Minecraft content creator back in 2012. I pivoted in 2016 to pro wrestling because, well, my audience wasn't growing and I found something else that I love to talk about. And I figured, hey, if I just do this, maybe there will be some growth that comes out of it. And I was lucky. Obviously a lot of hard work and a lot of consistency, not missing streams, not missing videos, not missing any big events. But it worked. And I pivoted because I was like, hey, this is definitely the direction I have to go. So all you got to do is try, man. That's all I can say to you is just try. Keep trying different things. If things are not working, pivot and try different things. That's literally all you can do. Experiment, see what happens, but post. Now, when it comes to live streaming, that's a tough one. The live streaming space right now is very, very crowded. There is lots of pro wrestling content creators that are trying to stream, and I think it's because they've seen... Well, let's call a spade. They've seen content creators like myself, Santi Zap, Wheezy Blonde, Mr. Tesh, Wrestling Days, Gritty Urban Saga, Queen of the Ring. Just these are names that are right off the top of my head. Mini Portable. Goodness gracious. Who else is doing this? Steven Larson do watch-alongs. What Culture Wrestling does watch-alongs. I think JD from New York does them from time to time. There is so many names right off the top of my head that I'm like, yeah, they do wrestling watch-alongs. And look, you can only do so much. There's only so many ways to stand out, especially when you're on Twitch that doesn't have an algorithm to help push your stream to new viewers. So my advice is that if you're trying to stream, awesome. It's a great way to connect with your audience that you have. Don't expect it to lead to growth. My streams don't make my channel grow except for pay-per-view streams. That's really all that grows my channel is the pay-per-view reactions. Everything else comes from me posting onto TikTok, posting onto YouTube, posting onto YouTube Shorts, Instagram, Twitter, all these different places that lead to my streams, that lead to my YouTube and Twitch stream. You got to bring people in from the outside in order to view your streams, but then you might be able to make a fan or 2 or 5 or whatever it may be. So best of luck when it comes to live streaming, dude. I hope it goes really well for you. D-Clan right here asking me, what do I think of the Motor City Machine Guns, and are they going to be pushed straight away when they show up on Friday Night SmackDown? Yeah, I think they're going to be pushed straight away. It looks like they're going to have a program with the Bloodline probably right out of the gate. It looks like they're going to go after the tag team titles. I think they lose. I don't think they win the tag team titles right out of the gate, but hey, cooler things have happened in the past, and maybe this will be a cool thing that happens in the present. You never know. But yeah, I do think that the Motor City Machine Guns are going to be pushed pretty heavily, featured around the Bloodline story, at least for a bit. Give Jacob Fatu, nope, he's not tag champ anymore, sorry. Give Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa something to do for a bit. And the last one right here, we briefly touched on this from Matthew Walker. He's asking, when did I start YouTube? Back in 2012, and this year will be my 12th year. That is insane. This November will be my 12th year of being not a pro wrestling content creator, but just a content creator in general. But yeah, I started back in 2012 playing Minecraft, of all things. Kind of wild, eh? But thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. I really do appreciate all of you listening here to Conversations. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications. And if you want to check out any extra content that we have the Con Man Reacts channel, which is just literally me reacting to pro wrestling content. And then we have the Reddit. The Reddit is where there's lots of great videos over there, stuff that I just simply cannot post to YouTube due to copyright. But if you go on over to our Patreon, you can find me over there. We've got the main event series we're reacting to, and I do believe I'm going to start reacting to Lucha Underground full episodes over on Patreon as well. So lots of content over there. But thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for listening to me to ramble on for 45 minutes. Oh my God, I really do ramble. Holy hell. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments, and thanks for listening to Conversations.